once the
In about
football
3 more
season
months.
starts. Yeah, about
I know
3-4
you
more
feel
months, we'll see. Being out in the West
Yes.
Coast, ruling the Hollywood nation in California. And she is my screenwriting mentor. When I first started my screenwriting, she was the very first person I reached out to, and she's been my mentor ever since. Ladies and gentlemen, the classic Spartan, Miss Stephanie Harris-Byers.
Thank you.
What up, though?
Hello.
And go green, go
Hey,
white.
what up, though?
Yes.
What's going on?
So right, absolutely. Cali
It's a
style,
pleasure
though. I
to
gotta do
have
it
you
Cali style.
on here,
I can't do
Stephanie.
it cold
Definitely
anymore.
a pleasure to have you on with us here.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here. I was shocked when you
Hey,
asked me
no
did I want to
problem,
be
no
on. I'm like,
problem, no
really?
problem.
Oh, sure. Why
So
not?
the very first question
I
that
can
we
kick it with
always
y'all.
ask our guests is, what drew you to Michigan State? Why choose the Spartan way of life? What made you come to Michigan State?
Wow. I get asked that question quite often because I'm not from Detroit or I'm not from Michigan. I'm actually from Buffalo, New York. And so when I got to Michigan State in 1983, I always wanted to be a Spartan. I remember being like a sophomore or junior in high school, and I said, I'm going there. I'm going to Michigan State. I think Irv might have had a little bit to do with it. Magic Johnson, they had won the championship, and I'm sitting there watching the game on the couch with my boyfriend, and I was like, they look like they having a
that'll
good time.
do
I'm
it.
going there.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do. But in all all seriousness, um, had my father had his druthers, he wanted me to go to Syracuse. And that was just too close to home. I wanted to get away and spread my wings. And so Michigan State, and they also had one of the finest telecommunications or communications courses in the country at the time. And I visited, and that was it. It was the first school I applied to. It was my first acceptance letter. I was done. I was like, I'm out.
It's interesting. Very similarly, when I first got accepted to Michigan State, I shut it down as well. Like, I already knew I was going there. Because like I said, I grew up with the green and white. My brother went there, so we spent our Sundays going to visit him back in Holden Hall.
Yeah.
I lived in Gilchrist. I lived in the Virgin Islands.
Yes, Yakeley Gilchrist.
The Virgin Islands. Oh, girl.
That's where
all the girls' dorm, or was that Yakeley? One of the two.
It's Yakeley Gilchrist, right? It was the only all-girls dorm.
Oh yeah,
on
that
campus.
makes sense.
But that's where all the fellas came to eat because all the girls.
Yeah, like you guys here, Michigan State. It was it wasn't the first university that I applied to, but it was one of many. And what's funny is I remember in high school I went on a black college tour, and my sister kind of like said going to like a black college because I had such a good time on it. And it's funny that after I thought about it, like, well, I don't want to be that far away from home. It's only like an hour drive. And after I applied, Michigan State, they really wanted me to come there because I remember getting calls from like the dorms and students and some of the, people that worked there. So I was like, oh, they really must want me to come. So I visited the campus. So I was like, yep, I'm coming. And then what's funny is a lot of people who were on that black college tour also came to Michigan State too. So, but yeah, there's just something about the green and white, something about the green and white. So, that's one of many things we all have in common.
you can't beat it. And
Yes.
our alumni association, our MSUVA, you got to shout them out. We are so strong. My friends who went to HBC and went to other schools, they've never seen anything like how much we stay together, we hang out, we party, we travel, we follow the team. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
how
most definitely.
People look at us and go,
so,
wow.
Stephanie, you were at MSU in the 80s, back in the days of the trimesters. You know, how was that experience? Because I started at Michigan State when they first started doing semesters. So, yeah, you were at MSU when they did trimesters back in the 80s.
Repeat the question.
Trimesters.
So how was that experience?
Yes, we were in trimesters. Well, if you were shamming, it was kind of brutal, because if you were shamming, week 3, week 4, by week 8, you had been going to class. You was SOL.
Wow, yeah.
It was no joke. That's for sure. I can remember having a psych 101 class across campus, and a lot of folks don't know just how large our campus is, how massive. It's a city. East Lansing wouldn't exist if Michigan State wasn't there. Yeah, and it can take you 45 minutes to get.
Yes,
it can take you 45 minutes to get to one class, and then that's when the tundra was still there, and that class was on the other side of the campus. And it was 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll never forget this. And I thought to myself, oh, well, I've been in high school and going to school at 7:30 in the morning. I'm going to make this 8 o'clock class. Then you could check the tape out in the library if you didn't go to class. And I went to a small private Catholic high school in Buffalo called Mount St. Joseph Academy. Ooh, shout out, my school's gone now, but so I was very disciplined, and I was a good student. I look out that window, and it be 3 feet of snow and 90 below outside. Be like, yeah, I'm gonna check the tape out in the library.
Experience.
Nah,
yes,
it didn't happen. I got some act right though, because that's all you need. Because but like, I'm not going home. That's not an issue. And they say, look to your left, look to your right, when you're not going to be there. And both the chicks who were sitting on the side of me at freshman orientation did not matriculate through. And that was not going to be my story.
Right.
So I was like,
right. Yeah. I remember those days too.
A little more studying, but I managed to do both and get out in 4.
It is out in 4. That's tough. It took me longer than 4.
Woo! I tell folks, you used to walk across the tundra with your back bracing the wind.
Now I think the tundra is
because if you walk straight ahead, it take your breath away.
Tennis courts. As my experience has been the tennis courts. The tundra was not there during my time.
Wow. When I do come back to campus, I literally, I can't get through campus because I can get to the stadium, I can get to, West Circle, stand there and look, wow. I've never been to a game at Breslin.
Dang. I think I've only been to one. We went to like a Purdue game a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Breslin wasn't there. They were building Breslin.
Wow.
They just broke ground
think about
when I graduated.
Yeah.
So that's a goal. They used to play at Jennison Fieldhouse, but that's a goal. That's on my list of things to do.
Gotta get you to the Brez.
Yeah, I want to go.
More reflecting on Michigan State times.
I'm a sports junkie.
I was going to ask.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to ask, we're talking, we're reminiscing about Michigan State. What are some of your more memorable moments there? Like something that's any funny story or thing, something that comes to mind? Anything you feel like sharing?
There's so many. There are so many. Some of the best friends of my life I went to Michigan State with, that I keep in touch with, like a steady 50, 60. I'm not saying one or two. Like everybody doesn't talk to everybody, but somebody talks to somebody who talks to somebody else,
Yes.
And again, there's so many. And me being an outsider, I didn't know anyone at Michigan State. At least you natives of coming from Michigan or wherever city in Michigan that you went to high school, had somebody who came before them or a sibling or, or a friend. I didn't have it. And so my relationships that I formed and bonded with was esoteric just because. And I kind of stood out because again, I was from someplace else and I had a car and I had New York tags and it was like, who this chick?
Did you have your car your freshman year? Because I know they used to have a rule that you couldn't have your car, at least that first year. You couldn't get permitted parking. You getting those tickets.
I did, and this is actually a funny story, and God bless my parents who rest in peace, but it wasn't funny to them. So I talked them into letting me take my car back to school, spring term, freshman year, and I wasn't supposed to have a car either. So I was parking off campus, parking in the back, and I accumulated a whole bunch of tickets, a whole bunch. To the tune of a few hundreds of dollars, and my pops called me and he said, "Stephanie, I just got a bench warrant for my arrest in the state of Michigan for parking tickets." He said, "I'm coming to get that goddamn car." I was like,
Yeah, that still happens now at the campus, I believe. I want to say it was if you had 6 tickets, they would tow your vehicle. If you had 6 unpaid ones, because it was the parking meters were always a killer.
Yeah. I experienced an impound once or twice. Yeah, I did. I can't lie. In fact, this is off brand, but when my mom, I was going through my mom's stuff when she passed away some years ago, and she saved the canceled check that she wrote to Michigan State DPS on parking tickets. I was like, wow. No, and she was still salty. She probably still salty.
Yeah, it was when I was there, and it's been a while now, so I'm sure if they might have changed it, but it was they would print out a ticket and put it on your car, and then have something like, hey, if you pay $10 within 24 hours, if you pay within 24 hours, it's $10. That is 25. And so I think if I got a mini ticket myself. I always made it sure when I got that 5th ticket, all right, let me pay these off, my little cafeteria check.
But it was before the age of central computers and all of that sort of stuff. So I don't know what my 18, 19-year-old brain was thinking. I was literally tossing tickets in the back seat. It's like, oh, they can't find me. I'm out of state. Well, it just took a little longer for them to find my father.
If they send it right back home, like that old good old fashioned snail mail.
I learned my lesson. I did. I learned my lesson.
So let's see. I know you said they played at the Jensen Fieldhouse. Any memorable games you remember at Jensen that you went to, or
basketball? Not so much, but the memorable football game is the one that we won against Indiana in 86. 87. So that would have been like November in 87 that sent us to the Rose Bowl in 88. And my girlfriend and one of my homeboys, we went to the game, and it was just electric. I'll never forget that. I mean, when we beat Indiana, I want to say it was like something like 27-3, and we walked out of there just on fire. It was like, what's a Hoosier? And that's the game that sent us to the Rose Bowl in '88.
That's with Andre Rison on the team, and was it Percy Snow?
Yeah, Percy Snow. He won the. I want to say he won MVP of the Rose Bowl that year. Yeah, that was.
One surprise
Yeah,
we get a
we were
Spartan
on fire.
legend.
We beat Michigan that year and Ohio State that year.
And that was the last time I went to the Rose Bowl before 2013.
Before when we went to the Rose Bowl in 2013, 2014.
2013.
Yep.
2013. Yeah.
Yep.
It was a 2013 season, but the Rose Bowl's on January 1. Yes. Yeah. Now that one I was here because when we went to the Rose Bowl in '88, so that would have been January 1st, '88. I moved here September '88, and I was supposed to go to that Rose Bowl. And I lost my father about a week before, and that's why I didn't go to the Rose Bowl. But I ended up moving to Los Angeles, and I had no real intention or plans to move to LA. That's the interesting part. My roommate from college, Dana, she moved to LA about 6 months before I did. And she called me up and she said, "What you gonna do? I need a roommate." And I was like, huh. And I was still living in Lansing. I was living downtown, Lansing, in fact. And I thought, LA. And I called home and I said, "Mom, I'm moving to LA." And she was like, "Oh God." Again, car issue. She was like, "You cannot drive that car across the country. I will pay to ship that car." I was like, "I'm on the next thing smoking." So I called her up and I said, "Dang, she found us an apartment in Inglewood." So I ran around for 2 weeks saying, I'm moving to Inglewood, California. I had no spatial relationship with LA, so I didn't know where Inglewood actually was. I just knew it was a part of Los Angeles. And I got here and the rest is history.
Wow. So you moved right during when the NWA days was just popping off.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Many days, yeah. Late
And
80s, early 90s.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm in the entertainment business. And that was not, again, that wasn't a plan either, necessarily. I mean, I'd done a lot of things at Michigan State. I was part of Ebony Reflections and I modeled and we produced some shows and things like that. But when I got here, it just all made sense and it all came together. I've got good friends in this business and like you said, NWA, but one of my best friends was head of security for Ice Cube and the Lynch Mob, and so I did all of that and worked in radio, and then I settled down and got into film and television, and that's where I basically cut my teeth.
Oh, that is awesome. So that explains why I sought you out, because when I first started doing my thing, I was like, hey, I need a mentor. And, and that's the power of, I'll say, with Michigan State is that, especially within the Black alumni, that's the power of networking, because, it's definitely worked out for me. And, it's like you were saying earlier, having that network with the Alumni Association, particularly the Black Alumni Association, that's what makes it so special.
It really actually does. And, but again, Jill Devers called me and she said that LA needed a presence on the MSUBA board and that I should start a chapter here. And I thought to myself, what? I don't have time for that. But it has been fruitful. It really, and there's so many of us here. There really are a lot of Spartans in LA. And Black Spartans, but not just Black Spartans, because I sit on the LA Spartans board as well, and we do things together and, watch parties and stuff like that. But it has connected me with the university in ways that I would have never imagined during my time on campus.
Mm-hmm.
And the hardest part, and a lot of these kids, these Southern California kids, want to go to Michigan State. And we have a send-off barbecue and, picnic in the summertime for these kids that are going to Michigan State. But it's hard because that out-of-state fee is expensive. It is really expensive.
Yes,
and so I've
is.
always tried to think about, yeah. Well, it was expensive for me I was an out-of-state student. And so we paid 3 or 4 times what in-state students pay. Well, imagine, the inflation rate 36 years later. Now, to go to Michigan State from here is, it's a $60,000 ticket.
Yeah, I believe it.
He's going to so much.
In fact, my son, his first acceptance letter was to Michigan State, and he texted me and he said, "Mom, I got into Michigan State," and I was clapped. I was like, "Oh my God, you got into Michigan State!" So I picked him up from school that day, and I said, "Baby, you want to go to Michigan State?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, why did you?" He said, "No, it's too far and it's too cold." And I said, "Well, why did you apply?" He said, "I love Michigan State because of you." He is a Spartan fan.
That is funny. Yeah. That is funny. That is funny.
You met him, Ken. You met him when your son was, he could have been about 4 years old. Now that my son has just graduated college and just finishing up his first year of grad school at University of San Francisco. So time gets in the wind.
Ooh, boy. Wow.
How fast.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Yeah, it really does.
Absolutely.
So, Stephanie, what are you doing? Currently in the world of Hollywood? I know that you've told me about your the Paradise 24 project you were working on. If you want to elaborate more on that, as far as anything else you've been working on right now, taking over Tinseltown.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. I am, so I kind of stepped away. I stepped away from things for a few years to be a stay-at-home mom and get my kid through and all the rest of that. And a couple of years ago, when he left for college, I said it's my turn again. So I started writing. I'd always been a writer, or worked in development and script development, helping you and things like that. But I was a ghostwriter, or I was a development exec, and I get a script or a manuscript in the shape. And so I just decided it was my turn. It was my turn that it was easy for me to give you notes and send you on your way. And ran into some guys I knew from back in the day in the nightclub era in the late 80s, early 90s. And I ran into them a couple years ago. And one of them said to me, his name is Larry Wallace, in fact, and Artris Lefitch. And now they've become my partners. We partnered in this. But they were the promoters of the largest Black nightclub in the country ever. Larger than what Studio 54 was to New York, but that's what Paradise 24 was to LA. And so Larry says to me, he says, "Steph, I've been trying to write." Yeah. He says, "Steph, I've been trying to write this book. I need you." I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah." And so we sat down and we chopped it up and we talked about it. And I said, "Yeah, it's historic because it was not only, it was a very large Black nightclub, 1,500 in attendance every Thursday night in Hollywood. But it was celebrity
1,500. Wow.
Every Thursday night.
Out.
Every Thursday night. And so Eddie Murphy, Magic Johnson, if you was a who's who of that era, you came to Paradise. It's over 500 celebrities who ever came through Paradise. And so the book is about the journey. The book is not necessarily about partying, but how these two brothers, and it was 6 original promoters who got together and put this together. But the book is about the journey and about the time and the culture of the 80s, and hell, surviving the 80s. I mean, we was partying 7 days a week. I was hanging like a wet rag.
Wow.
So, and this was my project to write, because I got here in 88, but the club started in 85. So they were already running its course. You know, they was doing their thing. But I lived it. So it was a lived experience for me. So for me to be able to get inside of their minds and their bodies and to give a narration of what was going on has been a thrill. So I've been working on this for about a year and a half. We had a launch party in February, and so the book should be out by the summer. You know, and it's not as easy as you think. It really isn't. You know, to capture the moment, but also to make it engaging.
Mm-hmm. And don't you have a podcast too about the Paradise 24? Or you?
It's not a podcast. I did a series of interviews, and so
Okay.
we're looking at putting it on a podcast. So the interviews are folks who went to Paradise. I coined the phrase, everybody has a Paradise 24 story. What's yours? And everybody's got one, you know, from when they saw Tyson there, or they saw, you know, Norm Lewis Limousines is a solid brother here in LA. He started with one car and said that Paradise helped propel his limousine company. Now he runs LA. You know, he proposed to his wife at Paradise. It's those kinds of stories, you know.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, to come out. I'm interested now. Look it up.
Yeah, with Heavy D by his side, and we got the receipts, we got the pictures.
Wow, that's crazy.
So it's
especially
fun.
In the 80s.
I call it. It was a time of hedonism. Let's just say that. You know, money wasn't. We were dining in the best restaurant in Beverly Hills and all. Again, I'm just glad that I survived.
The Reagan era, boy. Those Reagan years, boy. That was yeah. As a kid, just growing up in that era, just, you know, well, I guess now from my perspective, or me and Brian's perspective, seeing like documentaries about the 80s and all that stuff. I was like, wow, yeah.
That's the plan. The plan is for the book to be a docuseries, to be a series, to be whatever, because it's fodder for that. It really, you know, you can't make this up. You can't. Does life imitate fiction, or does fiction imitate life?
Right.
Yeah, so I'm real proud of this though. And it's I was gonna say, it's some of my best writing. I'm really, you know, I'm really, really proud of it. I just got to get to the finish. I'm leaning for the tape.
Yes, I could say as a fellow writer, it is interesting the journey that you take as a writer, especially trying to get to the end of whatever you're writing. That's the hardest part to me, just trying to, because it is kind of like a boxing match in a sense that, you know, at the first few rounds, it's like, okay, I got it, you know, I got my idea together, did my treatment, and I started writing the script. Then you just writing. Then, you know, this like, wow, maybe get like writer's block for a minute. Then you put it down. Then you go back, put it down again, go back. There's like, I'm almost to that finish line. I'm almost to the 12th round. I'm almost there. And then when you finalize, it's like, whoa.
That writer's block is real. It is real. It is real.
Oh,
is real. And
it is.
It's for me, sometimes it's just, I'm just not feeling it. And I've got to feel it. And so, you know, I can be twiddling my thumbs, but I'm just not feeling that space. And then the days when I'm on, it's like, blah, 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 you know, and it comes so easily. Yeah. Trust me, that's where I am right now.
I don't know how anybody can say it's easy being a writer. It seems like it's such a tough process. Just, knowing my brother's going through with some of the things he's done, and like, man, shout out to y'all. I can't wait for your book to come. I'm definitely gonna pick it up.
Oh yeah,
Thank you for giving me the. Thank you for giving me the platform, because I'm guaranteed. Just talking about it, when you're living with this, your baby, and you've been living with it for a while. And so when we had our launch party in February, it became real for me, because I know what I'm doing, but now, everybody's like, oh, so what's the book? Oh, what's the book? Oh, what's the book? I was like, okay, it's coming. That's why it's almost like I'd rather not even talk about it, but you got to talk about it, because now, and then I donned a whole lot of hats. I stopped for some weeks and helped build the website, and I stopped for some weeks and started doing a marketing plan, and I stopped for some, because I'm a producer. So I'm not just a writer, I'm a writer producer. So I see the end and I work backwards. So I needed a place for us to land. Because you write a book, and the goal is to self-publish, so we can, maintain most of the control as we could possibly maintain. And you begin to go, it's arduous. It is. It's a task. And it's not always fun. The business of this is not always fun.
Oh yeah.
And then you're trying to sell somebody.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, trying to sell somebody on the concept and trying to separate folks from their money.
Right.
My next one after this, I'm gonna get on stage and tell a joke or two, because I am silly. I mean, you gotta laugh. I wake up like this.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Well, you definitely got our support. So whenever you launch the book and anything else with this, we definitely want to, support our fellow Spartans in their ventures.
10%,
so
yep.
we'll definitely, we'll definitely do our thing to plug it in your end.
Oh, we're gonna take this from coast to coast. We're gonna come to town, have a silent party. Also, we're gonna on the get down, get down.
Oh yeah. And when you start writing the screenplay for the book, holla at your boy. And see when they say, holla at your boy.
I might need a polish. I'm gonna hit the first pass. I'll give you the polish.
Yeah. Well, I very much appreciate it, because I think my writing skills have come pretty far since that very first script I sent you, which I look back at it now, is like, woo, that was a very rough draft. But I think I think my skills have come through a little bit more since that very first script I sent you.
I started somewhere.
Oh yeah.
But what I appreciate is that you listen. Not all writers listen. They just think, and because writing is so subjective, but there is a formula to it. There is a formula. And so you listen, you took my notes, and you weren't like, she don't know what she's talking about.
Hey, yes, and like you said, that's the name of the game. You got to listen and take the feedback, and don't take don't take the criticism and be all in your feelings about it. You just got to take it and put it to work and keep working at it.
I'm real proud of you. I'm very, very proud of you. You've done so much, and to get that series off the ground, that's hella cool. Congrats.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. And I got some more stuff in the hopper too. And
podcast is dope. I mean, what a great idea. And you came to when you asked me to it, I said, well, what are we gonna talk about? I said, does he know that I love sports? That I talk football. I'm that girl.
Oh yeah, that's what we want, and us doing these these interviews, we definitely we're expanding our our reach and whatnot, trying not only talking to different former players, but other Spartans who are such as yourself, who are maybe who may not be, in sports, but, doing dope things and love all the, Spartan sports, football, basketball and whatnot. So, oh yeah.
Because we're all just fans, and it's good to connect with fans. That's what that's what our podcast is kind of about. Just just fans chopping it up, talking about the Spartans like anybody else would on a beautiful day for football on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a group chat with it's 5 of us from my era, all female, my girlfriends, and we watched the game together. I'm in LA, one in Dallas.
That's nice.
One in Atlanta and one in Phoenix. And we like, you see what and we're texting in real time. And we were like, we on. Game on. Yeah.
That's what me and Brian do. Yep.
It's 5 of us. And we do
way
it every
more emotional
week.
than Ken is.
Oh yeah, yeah, Brian,
Really?
yeah. That's why his name is, Brian the Super Mad Spartan, because he takes those losses, pretty heavy.
I'm emotionally attached to it. Michigan State's such a big part of my foundation of my life. And the football, the basketball, those things are like your only connection once you leave the school. And so I gotta get emotional about it.
Mm-hmm.
I get so salty. I can't even read the sports page. When we lose, I don't want to read. I'm with you.
Nope.
I understand. I understand.
Even though, right. Even though somehow we got through our very first season of Cue the Woodshed, which was very painful. Somehow we got through it.
Yeah,
so
a lot of L's. But we made it.
We made it. We here.
What's the little rapper's name? Glorilla said, at the end of the day got to end.
Yes.
I can't believe I just quoted her. I like her now.
Right.
See, I ain't out of touch. I'm not out of touch. Out of touch.
What do you think of the current football team, Stephanie? We know with the new coach and everything. What do you think of the new regime? Any thoughts on them? Any thoughts on that?
I don't. Let's talk about it after we get going. I saw something I saw you were at the Green and White game. It looked cold.
Oh yeah,
was it cold?
It was a little chilly. Oh yeah,
I didn't make it that day because it was too cold. Like, I don't want to sit in the stadium like that. It gotta be real special for me to be in the cold like that.
I took one for the team. I took one for the podcast, so I was out there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your service.
Miss me on that. My girl asked me, was I coming to homecoming? I said, I don't like them homecomings in late October anymore, okay? You do homecoming in September, I could be there. But that October, my threshold is about 45 degrees. And people say, you're from Buffalo. You went to school in Michigan.
Buffalo, I say the same thing. Buffalo gets colder than Detroit.
I am climatized. 45 degrees is my threshold. Done. To your question, Ken, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion yet, because you probably, you get the feed on it, and who's coming in and who came off the portal and all the rest of that. I don't get it unless I go look for that information. So I don't really know what the roster is going to look. But what I will tell you, Keon Coleman, I'm in love with him. I'm in love with that kid. And he went to Michigan State for 2 years. The receiver who came from Florida State, the Bills just picked him up.
Yes.
Oh, yep.
We had him.
A couple of interviews are very funny.
He's a media darling. He is a media and I don't think he's trying to be. He's just being him, But he a bad boy. He catches stuff.
He's being himself.
And we had him. That's my problem. I'm like, we had him. But that when Tucker came in, Tucker wanted his own, and that's football. That's any. So, but he gives us props. He be like, I played at Michigan State for 2 years. Matter of fact, he gonna wear 0 at Buffalo, and that was his number at State.
Oh, I didn't know that,
I
actually.
saw that, yeah.
I think he was the first player taken because I had went to the NFL draft the last day, that Saturday, and I think he's the first player taken in the second round by the Bills.
Yeah, he was the first player, and we had traded we had like the 30th pick or something like that, like 2 picks before the end, and they traded it to Kansas City, and I was sitting here going, what? But again, I don't know what's going on in the war room, and they did right. They did right, but in that moment, I was hot. I'm that fan. I'm with you, B.
It's hard to be, and you're emotionally. That's what makes sports fun and sometimes not so fun when you're emotionally invested.
If it's an important game, I can't go to like a Spartan game. We have a bar in Marina Del Rey, Tony P's, where is our watch bar, and I can't go on an important game. Like I'm not going to the Michigan. I need to watch at home by myself, hollering and screaming and cussing at the TV.
Sounds very much like that. Sometimes we watched the game earlier this year. Was it the Washington game last year, Ken? And we just
oh my, yeah,
so sad.
Right before Tucker got the axe. Yeah, we watched that game and we were like, wow.
Yep, right before.
No, it was right. He had just gotten.
There's that week.
Yeah,
it was just that week. He got suspended and then later on fired.
Suspended at the time. Yeah.
It's a tough watch. Yeah. Funny TikToks though.
And folks know, don't call me if Bills is playing or Michigan State is playing. Why are you calling me? I do not want to talk. Word.
Yeah.
I want to talk.
Yeah.
And the other one. Do not taunt me. That'll get your head knocked off. When we lose, I'm the only person went to Michigan State or from Buffalo, and you call me to talk shit. I'm sorry, y'all. I'll just be like, don't call me till Wednesday.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are a sports fan through and through. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Thank you. Thank
you. Well, Miss Stephanie, it's been a pleasure having you on here. Cue the Woodshed. Definitely enjoyed having you on. Like I said, my screenwriting mentor taught me so much about the screenwriting game, and this giving us the insight of how it was being a Spartan back in the 80s, and those exciting times. Yeah, definitely appreciate having you on.
Before there were cell phones, I don't know how we all knew where we were going to be, but we all found each other.
Hey, I couldn't even explain that to a young, like my nieces and nephews, the younger ones. Like, yeah, but we didn't have cell phones all the time, so we had to actually just meet up and coordinate. Like, hey, 7:00, be here.
No, we had answering machines, and we'd have to go home, check the answering machine, or you was lucky if you could check the answering machine remotely and be like, yeah, we had such and such. See, that's how it went down.
Yes. Yes.
But we was going to be in America's Cup. America's Cup, peanut barrel crunchies. We was going to be.
Wow, I think the peanut barrel's still there at MSU. I think the peanut butter is still at
I think both. Is it Crunchy? They both still there, I believe.
I think so. Yeah,
Crunchy and peanut butter. Yeah, definitely. Crunchy's my favorite.
Wow.
Yes.
Harrison Roadhouse.
That's still there too.
Harrison Roadhouse. Oh my God.
Yep.
There are a few places that I have to go when I get there that I want to eat. I want to eat at Olga's because we don't have it out here. So we stop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to eat at Olga's when I get up, you know. And Harrison Roadhouse might stop in there, and Crunchies.
Yes.
I love this. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Oh, not a problem. You have an open door. Always come back. Like I said, send us your information about Paradise 24. We'll plug it in our show and our social media, and yeah, we'll make it happen.
Cool. All right, guys.
We'll make it
much
happen.
luck, much success.
All right.
Yeah. This has been fun.
Thank you.
Same.
Yes. So this is Hugh the Woodshed, Ken the Super Cool Spartan, my brother Brian the Super Mad Spartan, the very classy Stephanie Harris-Byers, and we are out. Go green.
Go green.
White.
Go white.